Welcome to the 8 in the Box podcast. Today is it Tuesday or Wednesday? It's Wednesday, December 22nd, holiday week. Oh, man. We've got bowl games. We've got more bowl games. And then we've got more bowl games. But before we get to all that, I got to bring the boys in. Myself, Dave Sharapan, the Sportsbook Consigliere at SportsBK Consig on the Twitter. The quarterback of the show, Brad Howe. You find him at Brad Howe 07 on the Twitter. B Howe, are you ready to talk football here on 8 in the Box?
Oh, I can't wait. You say you started this by what day is it? It doesn't matter what day it is. Here's what you know. You wake up, there's games on. There might be NFL, might be college. We've got bowl bonanza season fully underway. Let's go. We got a lot of them.
This is our bowl special number 2 of 3. We went back and did 1 for all those Saturday games to welcome you into bowl season. This one's going to carry us through about December 30th until we get to New Year's Eve, essentially. And then I think next week we're going to regather, circle the wagons, and get after it for the big games, which are New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And today, everything else in between. I mean, the rundown list, producer of the show, Dan Alexander, a.k.a. Newbert. You find him, we call him Newbie, at Newbie Talks on the Twitter. Fresh off breaking a streak of his own, going to Eagles games and then losing every time he's at the game. Newbie, how you feeling today off the Eagles win?
Oh, I've never felt better. And then I get 8 in the box with B Howe cutting a wrestling promo. It doesn't matter right off the top. Little rock action. I love it.
That's what we're doing. All right, so let's just get to it. I mean, there's nothing left to talk about. Pre-game, we've been up. We've been looking at numbers. We've been gathering nuggets, and we're going to give it all to you right now. B Howe.
All right, Dave, let's start with a fun one. This comes up quick. This is going to be Thursday. We've got the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa, UCF and Florida. This is fun for a couple reasons. Number one, the teams have not met since 2006. So you talk about games mattering and motivation for bowl games. You think UCF is ready to play the big boys in the Florida Gators in, I might add, a sold-out Raymond James Stadium. So it should be a really fun atmosphere, too, there in Tampa. The challenge here, UCF won 8 games. The question is schedule strength with them. On the Florida side, interim coaches we know, Dan Mullen out, Greg Knox in. Actually, the second time Greg Knox has been an interim for Dan Mullen. He got a win in the Tax Slayer Bowl when he was with Mississippi State. They beat Louisville with Lamar Jackson that year. So Greg Knox has some experience in this role. The question with Florida, who wants to be there? Are they engaged? What are they doing at quarterback? Who's the quarterback? What are they doing? What do we like here? Do you trust Florida? Florida's got more talent. We know that. Do you trust UCF to step up in competition and get a win here, or at least a cover? Florida by 7.
Florida favored 6-6 straight up. Is this right? 3-9 against the spread. Florida was one of the worst teams in college football against the spread. And then you look at UCF, who's 8-4, but they're 4-8 against the number. These teams were bad against the spread, not good betting options, mostly betting against. And now you got a 7-point favorite who went 3-9 in SEC. I mean, there's obviously a disappointing season for Florida. And I mean, it's 6-6. You want to talk about motivation. Are they happy to be having to practice and go up to Florida? Or I don't think so. I mean, this is dog to me, but like this number has been painted 7 since it opened. And also the first example of, to me, like I say it all the time, and I mean, it's a family show, but nobody knows shit. And you put up a number in the book at 7 early, and you don't get moved off the 7, it's not because it's drawing two-way action. It's because it's drawing very little action. Sometimes the best numbers don't draw any bets because you get there too quickly. So I think that's what you're seeing. I would lean Central Florida in the game. But again, you know me, I'm always looking to take the dog. 55.5, I mean, total-wise, is that a low number for Central Florida? Usually that they shoot a little bit higher than that, don't they?
Yeah, but they're a little different. Remember, now with Gus Malzahn, they don't go quite as fast as they did under Josh Heupel. I called this game a couple years ago on
That's
radio.
right. This was the place where you would go to, right?
Yeah, I've done this game 3 or 4 times, and I had UCF a couple years ago, and I was just astounded how fast they went. But that was Josh Heupel, who's now at Tennessee, which we're going to get to Tennessee here in a minute. So Malzahn likes to go with tempo, but it's not quite as fast. My one debate here, I think you're right. I'm not going to debate you hard on this one. I think you try and take the points and see if UCF can play up. The challenge would just be, we know Florida wants to run the football. UCF can't stop the run. They give up 190 yards per game on the ground. Florida runs for 210, but it's a different Florida team. That would be my only pause with UCF, but I wouldn't fight you hard here if you want to take the Knights on this one.
Yeah. When you say that, and if you go back and listen to the first show, almost every one where you said this team can really run the ball, the games went over. Like because they kept running the ball. They didn't have to change anything they were doing. And there were a couple big plays. Even Kent State, who lost to Wyoming, broke through and had a couple 50-yard runs that caused the score just shot way over the total. So now that you said that, maybe that's probably the recipe is over. But I'm leaning Central Florida.
Okay, got it. Let's go to the next one. I'm interested in this one on Christmas Eve. First of all, I love the Christmas Eve bowl games. We've got Memphis and Hawaii. Hawaii staying home on the island for this one. Memphis coming in. Memphis, now this line, you talk about a line, you're going to give me some history here. It is really run. Open Memphis 3.5, has moved all the way up to 7.5. Here's why. Hawaii's reportedly a mess. Inside the locker room, some discontent with head coach Todd Graham, number one. Number two, and maybe more importantly to this game, their offense took a big hit. Chevy Cordero, the starting quarterback, out. He's in the transfer portal. Day Hunter, leading running back, out. He's in the transfer portal as well. So start with that side of it. You've got Hawaii that's really struggling. Yes, they're at home. Yes, they do better on the island, but this is a program that's a mess. Memphis is going to come in and want to throw it. Very good quarterback in Seth Hennigan, 25 touchdown passes. I'm already in on this, just full disclosure. I took Memphis early, didn't get it at 3, did get it at 3.5. So I'm in and holding at that number.
This line went all the way to 9 in a lot of places before they got buyback. This is one of those ones we'd be sitting in the book going, okay, we have no shot. And sometimes we don't. Like the information is out, guys are leaving, people bet it, and Memphis blows out Hawaii. That's what I'm leaning towards right now. Like, this sounds like it's too much to overcome. And I think it's maybe a big enough difference in class that a big effort and some rallying cry speech and everything else isn't enough to bring this team together to cover the spread. I don't think Hawaii can win from the sounds of it, but we've seen 10-point plus dogs win already.
Yes.
So I don't think it's a shoo-in that, you just blindly play Memphis and lay the points now. Laying the points when you laid them at 3.5 up to, 4.5. And then once it got past there, you kind of missed the number. And now laying over 7 in a game isn't the best recipe for success either. But I can't make a case for Hawaii in this spot. Like, just plus the points. I want to. Home dog, home game, but you already played Memphis, so
I played Memphis, so I'm in the barn. I'm not touching it here. If you want me to help you make a case for Hawaii, I think it's a couple things, and this is philosophical more than it is X's and O's, but it's one of those. Are we starting to get the narrative is so far one direction? Oh, it's all Memphis. It can't possibly be Hawaii. They're a total mess. This is Memphis at any number. Let's take it. Added to this, you ready for this stat? Memphis just flat out plays close games. 4 of the 6 losses for the Tigers are by 6 points. 5 of the 6 wins are by 5 or fewer. So if you're going to lay a touchdown or more with the Tigers, again, knowing Hawaii's a mess, that Memphis is going to have to do something it hasn't done all year and blow somebody out. So if you want to make the case for the dog, there's, I think, your case for the dog.
Well, looking at the spread numbers, Memphis is 4-8 against the spread. They're 6-6. Boy, there's a lot of mediocre football teams in bowl games, huh?
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You got 84 bowl teams that are playing, so you're going to get some mediocre.
6 and
Now
6.
listen, that's okay because we only have another couple weeks of college football. And again, I'm going to come to you in March. When we're evaluating spring training and
We
want to
will
be
be.
talking football. So let's no complaints about any bowls or mediocre or bad. Heck, Hawaii's 6 and 7. Hawaii's not
They
even
are
500
6 and
in this
7.
game.
Right. They're
So
under
we just take
500.
football, be happy we've got football, and we'll talk Texas Rangers middle relievers later.
All right. That's fair enough. I think now I want to take the points. I mean, Memphis hasn't won a game by that amount of points. Like, this is what happens in the bowl games. We have time before the games, like now, and you can talk yourself into both sides. And I think it's a good lesson in what are we really doing. And then the day of the game comes and you completely go opposite of what you were doing. It drives you nuts sometimes.
Let me ask you this, because again, you do the in-game live show on Sports Grid, Sirius XM channel 159 every night. A lot of these bowl games are really good in-game opportunities, more so than pregame, right? I mean, look at the motivation. Let's watch on Christmas Eve. We're dialed in watching this game. You've already talked to the family. You got maybe presents coming a little bit later. Watch this and see what happens. Maybe get a better number. Maybe Hawaii scores early. You can get Memphis at a better number. Maybe you like Hawaii at that point. This is really an in-game play, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Like, a lot of these games are, because you have the same information. Like, what we have now is all over the place. You gathering information, I'm gathering for everyone all over, listening to the show, watching the show on the YouTube. Again, thank you. It's crazy, the amount of information, the amount of time we have. Usually games the lines are up a week in football. That's the longest they're up. These are up a month. We got enough time to talk yourself onto and off a side 3 times, let alone once. In-game opportunities all over the board. This might be a good one. Christmas Eve, everybody's sleeping a little bit or doing their own thing. What are you doing over there, Daddy? Just watching a football game. -3.5, +12, -6.5, +10. All right, we're good. Let's go.
Yeah, I like that one. So again, I'm already on Memphis. I wouldn't quibble at all if you want to stay off this until you see where it goes when it opens. Because here's the other piece of information, and we're going to talk a lot about this in this next game. The opt-outs are changing daily. So make sure, even if you're watching this, go back and double check who's opted out since we recorded this. That changes constantly. And you saw it in the Tuesday night game. What day is it? I don't even know what day it is either. It's Wednesday. On the Tuesday night game with Texas San Antonio, UTSA, they were a popular pick against San Diego State. You get close to game time, rumors started flying about guys that were out for the Roadrunners. They were missing some 20 guys in that game. So if you have that information, of course, you're going to load San Diego State, who ended up winning in that game. So keep an eye on opt-outs here.
And that late move is usually pretty solid information. I mean, the late move doesn't always win, because in that previous game, the late move came on Kent State against Wyoming, and they didn't get there. So, here and there, it hits, it doesn't. It's not. There's no absolutes in any of this. That's what we keep reminding you. Not only here on 8 in the Box, on Cash Considerations, on Game Within the Game, all the shows that we do. I think we're very forthright and honest, saying, "Here's the information. Here's what we kind of like. Good luck," because it's very, very hard.
Well, okay. Speaking of very, very hard, I'll give you another one here. The line is moving all over, and that is because of opt-outs. Nevada, Western Michigan. Western Michigan now the favorite by just under a touchdown. This thing is flipped. Nevada is all over the place. So here we go, narrative. Here we go, opt-out. Ready. Nevada star quarterback Carson Strong, out. Multiple wide receivers for Nevada, out. Head coach Jay Norvell, out. Nevada also without a starting guard, a starting tackle, their second team all Mountain West Conference linebacker, a corner, two-time all-conference tight end, out. All out. Nevada's got everybody out. I don't even know if Nevada's coming to this game. Everybody's out.
I know. So this one was on the list. So I clicked the line history and I was like, wait, this game was pick? This game was Nevada pick? At one point, they were favored, and now they're 7-point dogs, B-How. I don't know. Like, I don't want Nevada in this situation, but do I want Western Mich laying all these points? I don't know.
Western Michigan beat Pitt early. great win. They beat Pitt. Terrible loss for the Pitt Panthers. Terrible loss. But then Western Michigan just won 3 out of 7. Their defense allowed 40 or more 4 times this season.
Right. That's the points they give up. Is this even with Nevada not having anybody? I mean, the total at one point was 66 to open. It's 56. Okay, nobody saw 66. 58.5 was the opener in most places, and now it's 50. Now it's 56. So I guess the correlation is Nevada doesn't have a lot of guys, so bet the under. That's where this line has come down. Yeah. But what you just said sounds to me like the over. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe Nevada's not going to score. Western Mich team total over is a good look there. I think they score. 7 seems like too much to me. Again, I default to the dog. Would you want to side in this pregame with everything going on there? No. Right?
I mean, we're going to talk a lot of these. There's a lot of them where I'm just going to say no. I mean, if you're in one of those bowl pools where you have to pick sides or spread and bowl, okay, I'd take Western Michigan. I'd probably take them on the number, and I'd probably take them. I'm not putting actual money on this one. No way. No way.
This game's
Nevada's got too much missing. And one of the things about it, listen, this is true for almost everybody outside of a Georgia and Alabama and maybe an Ohio State. You start to lose the number of guys that I just mentioned there for Nevada, and you're going into depth and backups. I mean, that's a total crapshoot with most programs around the country, and you don't have a head coach that's out. I mean, this one's a mess. I'll watch this, and I'll look to get in-game live here if I can find something.
Will you watch it? Because it's at 8 a.m. Pacific on Monday, the 27th. You will watch it because you watch a play. Have you watched a play of every bowl game so far?
Every one. I'm on like a 3 or 4 year streak. I will watch every single game, at least a couple of plays. Most of them I'll watch most of the game. So yeah, I'm all over this.
Okay. All right. Well, what's Western Michigan's nickname? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Broncos? All right. I just wanted to make sure you were paying attention. What's the next game?
Yeah, no more time needed on that one. Let's move along. Military Bowl, Boston College, East Carolina in this one. So this might have a little bit of intrigue. Here's why. East Carolina.
Wait a second. Isn't the Military Bowl one of the schools? Don't they have to be one of the military schools?
No. Not necessarily. No, changes. Sometimes they are. No.
Okay. I just want to make sure that my list was right because it says East Carolina and Boston College.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
All right, fair enough. It's a long list. I just want to make sure. Yeah, go ahead.
What's a long list? And I hope your stamina is good because we're just getting started here.
We're just getting started. Let's go, people.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
You with me? Military Bowl, East Carolina, Boston College. So ECU on a little mini run here, 4 straight wins late in the season until they ran into Cincinnati, as we lovingly say on this program. But maybe more importantly, 7 straight covers for the East Carolina Pirates. It kind of got it turned around a little bit. Quarterback Holton Ahlers, really good, 3,100 yards passing. He ran for 6 touchdowns. BC, here's the question around them. A lot of hype around BC coming into the season, but then quarterback Phil Jerkovic got injured early. BC took a nosedive, again, as most programs would when the starting quarterback goes down. He came back late in the season, mixed results, 2-2 once he returned. Here's the big news, though. He's announced he's coming back to BC for next year. So a lot of times in these bowls, we say it's not even so much about a wrap-up of the current season, but it's a chance to jumpstart your next season. You got a really good quarterback that's coming back next season in this game. Some excitement around the BC program as they headed into this season. Just overall storylines, I kind of like BC before we even get into the numbers. You have a preference here?
I'm looking to take the dog. I'm going through BC's schedule. I mean, they lost 6 of 8 of their last games, and they were against the spread 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2-5 in their last 7. And now, again, the quarterback stuff is great. Do you think when you say the quarterback's coming back and it's not so much about wrapping up this year, but about setting the tone for next year, is that a positive or negative in your eyes in the handicap? Because for me, I'm hearing it and I'm going, East Carolina's playing for right now. BC's kind of setting it up for next year. I like East Carolina in that spot.
Okay. How about see, I think BC's the better team if they're playing. So I like that they've got a quarterback that's now going to be back for his 5th game after the injury, has more time to get completely healthy. I just like BC. I liked them before the season. I think they bounce back here. I'm not sold on East Carolina yet. How about a total? Let me give you some trends on the total.
Please do.
East Carolina 5-1, 5-1-1 to the under in its last 7. BC 7-1 under in its last 8. Any
Ooh.
interest in a total here? Heavy under trend, but the number's down there. It's 51.5. Still too high for you?
Yeah. I mean, I would side under for sure. I wouldn't, there's no reason with those numbers for me to even think over. I mean, if it goes over, who does that favor? I think that favors East Carolina. No,
Agree.
BC's
Even though I
offense.
know you always tell me dog and under, but I think that's
Right.
Boston College is going to want to keep this down.
There's no question Boston colleges want to keep this down. Just looking at the numbers again, haven't seen one single play of Boston College's season, but I know from doing the stuff on Sports Grid and Sirius XM, I got a couple guys, Mike Blewett, who went to BC, so we always talk about the game each week, and people were high on BC. I mean, this is a disappointing season. 6-6, 6-6 against the number. They're in a bowl game, so I guess that's good. But I'm looking at East Carolina outright. I mean, it's a small number, so you can take the 2.5. That's pretty much current line. You can grab 3, actually. That wouldn't hurt. But yeah. I think they're live to win the game on the money line.
Okay. Move to Tuesday, next Tuesday. We got a bunch of games next Tuesday.
Tuesday's
the 28th. Let's go Houston and Auburn. This is another one. Tread lightly here on both sides.
Another bowl game in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, have you ever been to this facility? This is great. They got 2 bowl games in Birmingham, Alabama, and this is close to Auburn. Oh, this is a big game. No, Houston and Auburn in Birmingham.
Yeah. Now, here's what you're dealing with, though. You're right. It's basically a home game for Auburn, but what's Auburn going to give you? We know they don't have Bo Nix, who was out at the end of the regular season. Their list, I'm not even going to read to you the list of guys.
Did you see where Bo Nix is transferring to, by the way?
Yeah, Oregon. He's going to be a Duck.
It's going to help them a lot.
So a lot of things on Auburn here. What's their mentality? Last time we saw them, they yucked up that Iron Bowl game that they had against Alabama. They had that one. They go to triple overtime. They lose.
Is that kid playing quarterback?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they have. That's their quarterback.
He couldn't throw the ball.
No, I know. He was also dinged in that game pretty good. He was basically on one leg there at the end.
He was hurt. Yeah, that's right. All right.
So they also, all right, I'm going to just read the list quickly. Offensive coordinator Mike Bobo is out. Their All-American cornerback out. Hold on. I got Roger McCreary. Starting linebacker out. Right tackle out. Starting center out. And 6 others have entered the portal. I mean, Auburn's a complete mess right now. I mean, what are they doing? They're a complete mess. But on the other side, as I told you before Championship Saturday, I am not putting money on Dana Holgorsen in a championship spot. I'm just not doing it. Cincinnati comes through and they cover. You know what I'm also not doing, Dave? I am not putting money. This may be the right side. I am not putting hard-earned money on Dana in a bowl game. Lost 6 of 7 has Dana in bowl games. Some of them were such bad losses, Dave, they should have counted as 2. I am not backing Dana in a bowl. I've been around him. I've seen it. I've called him. I'm not doing it.
Is it because, I mean, I don't know if there's a specific reason, but were they more in dog roles or favorite roles? This 6 of 7 run. He was mostly a dog in those, right?
There were some games they should have been. Yeah, some dogs, but some they should have
really
their business.
Just bad.
Not prepared, not ready to play, not interested in playing. I'm not doing this. Now, again, Houston's had a very good season. Clayton Tune, excellent at quarterback. Their defense was fantastic. They're getting a decimated Auburn team here. That might be the right side. Houston might be. I'm not doing it. You can do it. I'm not touching it.
I think, I mean, there hasn't been nearly as much movement in it. This has bounced between 2.5 and 3. Peaked at 4 very quickly and has never gone back in a couple of places that I look at. Wow. I think you're going to see some serious line movement on this game. Now, we're recording this almost a week in advance. So that we're on the 22nd, the game's on the 28th. This line is either going to end up Houston favored, okay, or Auburn minus like 4.5. It's going one way or the other. I don't think it stays under 3.
See, I think your first read there is right. I think Houston ends up getting favored here, right? Because everything I just told you about Auburn, again, my issue with Houston is Dana in particular, watching him up close, getting ready for bowl games. I may be overrating that as a negative. If you're just general public and you see this, Houston's the side.
Yeah.
So if you like them, you should grab it now at 2.5 because it's going down. I'm with you. I won't be surprised if they end up favored here.
Is Houston going to be able to score against Auburn? I mean, Auburn held Alabama to 10 points. It's Alabama. That's their last game that they played. I think they would. I mean, even with guys leaving, Nick's leaving hurts, but like he was hurt. So they have playing experience at quarterback. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I think that coach is a pretty good coach. I like Auburn a lot after listening to you and talk about Holgerson and everything. I'm not taking him in a bowl game. I'm taking the other guy at a very short number. This seems like it's a bargain price for Auburn in a bowl game.
Except at this point, you're saying you might as well. If you like Auburn, you should wait and see if that Houston money comes, right? Because
I
going to
think
stick down even more.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, if you want to just guarantee yourself a number under 3, you could do it now. But I think for sure, after listening to all these guys that are out and everything, I think, yeah, you'll see Houston money come in closer to game time, and then it might flip. It might flip Houston the favorite. It really might. I can't believe I'm saying it, but yeah, no, I like Auburn, and I think my first thought is under, only because I don't think Houston's going to be able to score that many points, but Auburn may be able to run against Houston. But first thought is Auburn and under in the game.
Okay, let's move to the next one. Speaking of air raid, we've got another air raid guy. And you talk about a fun storyline in a bowl game, we've got it for you. Mississippi State and Texas Tech.
Oh, boy.
Leach getting the school that fired him in a bowl game. Mississippi State, what do you have most recent? I've got 9.5 where I am. This number's
10 in a lot of places. Well, no, it's 9.5. Let's go 9.5. It's 10 at the Circa. That's the only one right now. Scroll across here. It's pretty solid 9.5. There's 1 or 2 nines trailing from places that don't maybe move as quickly as others. So this one's going in that direction.
So you're going to get a motivated Mike Leach, and I think that only matters because, again, I question some of the air raid preparation, the air raid guys' preparation when they get into bowl games, how seriously they take it. I would think you're going to get a serious preparation effort from Mike Leach and Mississippi State here. Credit Texas Tech for a second, though. You talk about total turmoil. Firing a coach in the middle of the season, they bring in an interim in Sonny Cumbie. Sonny Cumbie was thought to be a candidate for the job. He doesn't get the job. They name a new head coach while the season's still going on. Right. They fired a coach, named a new one, kept the interim all while the season is going on. Texas Tech, very average, but found a way to get to a bowl. So just getting to a bowl, given what that group went through this year, I give them a lot of credit for being here. The question with them for me becomes Mississippi State's going to be the better team here. So if they show up, can Texas Tech's defense, who was absolutely god-awful at times, can it stop this passing game from Mississippi State? To me, now this is a big number. If you're starting to talk double digits with a Mississippi State team, that's a massive number here. But Mississippi State's the better team.
Mississippi State is the better team, but I'm looking at Texas Tech's last 5 games. Okay. At Oklahoma, they lost 52-21. Mm-hmm. Iowa State, they won 41-38. Oklahoma State, pretty good football team. They lost 23-0. And at Baylor, they lost 27-24. Now, I don't know what to make of the Big 12 overall, but those teams were pretty competitive, pretty good defensive teams. I would say I mean, between Baylor and Oklahoma State, maybe, and even Oklahoma, better than Mississippi State's defense. I think Texas Tech's going to be able to score in this football game. I do. 9.5. I mean, that's a lot of points. The game's in Memphis. We might have a little bit of weather to deal with. The total's 59.5. I mean, wow, that seems high to me. Again, I always kind of defer to the under, look for a reason to take the over because I'm already favoring the under. I like under here. When I like under, I like the dog. Again, it's just one of those things, but I think Texas Tech can keep this thing close. And I think the narrative will be, oh, Leach and Mississippi State's going to roll. Maybe they will. Are you all over the favorite here?
No, not all over. I think the line's probably a couple points high. I mean, listen.
If it was 7, would you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I would, because I think in this situation, if Leach gets a chance to tack one on, there's going to be some tacking on.
Is he that guy? He'll do it.
Oh, will he do it? Especially against Texas Tech. I mean, are you kidding me? Now, here's the one thing on the Texas Tech side. Because the new head coach is in place and has been in place, you've got guys that are playing for jobs for next season, right? You want to impress the coach. Do you want to be around next year? The new head coach is sitting over here. He's not coaching in the game, but he's evaluating and watching. So you may get a good effort. They're just so inconsistent.
Such an uncomfortable, like,
it's
thing.
Bizarre. Yes.
Right? Like where he's there, but he's not there, but he's watching everything and he's just sitting there taking notes. I got this guy, cross this guy off the list. I want this guy. This guy, I can't believe he's still here. I can't wait to clean his locker out. Like, it just seems so strange. Is there any other situation like sport or whatever where that exists?
No. It's bizarre. And that's what I mean. That's why I credit Texas Tech for being able to fight through all that chaos and even get to this point. I do think the number's a couple points high, but I like Mississippi State in the game here.
Okay.
Bring it down a little bit and I take them. This might, again, and I could say this for every game. This in game, I'm watching every one of these in game. That might be more of a play than the pregame.
This one has it. That's actually very intriguing. It's in a weird time spot on Tuesday. It starts at 3:45 Pacific. So for us, it's kind of a weird start time. 6:45 for you. Just get some early dinner and then settle in and watch this one. I think you'll have multiple opportunities to back the side that you like in this game, as well as create a nice big middle. I think you'll be able to get a 10-point middle on this, especially if Texas Tech scores early. You know, you can take the favorite down, get that number you want, and you have the dog up, you'll be fine.
Okay, let's talk. This is a fun one. Speaking of Tuesday games, Holiday Bowl, UCLA and NC State. NC State favored by 1. If you can give me the current line, total sitting right about 60. Now, I've said on this show before when we talked about Michigan, Iowa, and the Rob Houtland last-second field goal to beat Michigan. I grew up an Iowa fan. So to me, the Holiday Bowl has a soft spot in my heart for the Holiday Bowl. Feels like Iowa played BYU in that game for about 19 straight years. And there were always a lot of points scored back in a day when there weren't a lot of points scored. I like this bowl. So I like the Holiday Bowl.
This is my first bowl game attended in person. I went to see Penn State play BYU back in like 1990. And it was always that game that was fun to watch. It went over forever, right? It was always a high scoring game. And I remember thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to the Holiday Bowl. So it's San Diego, of course, I'm going to go. It's going to be, balmy weather. It was freezing. I had to buy a sweatshirt at the game. It was like in the, high 50s. It felt like it was 10. I was like, I kept looking at my girlfriend at the time saying, told me it was going to be warm. She's like, it's really not that cold. I'm like, I'm freezing. So I mean, when we went in a t-shirt and I had jeans on, but I was like, this will be, San Diego's balmy. It was cold that night, and the game went forever. Both teams scored in the 30s. I think the final score was 50-38, way over the total. She didn't know I had over, but it worked out okay.
I'm gonna give you some numbers. I haven't brought you much advanced analytic type stuff yet. I'm gonna give you some in this one.
I need that. Let's go.
Here we go.
A lot of people are waiting for
I think this is two really
yards per play or whatever them things you come up with.
I'm gonna give you an even better one than that. You'll like these. So the question here comes down to UCLA is going to want to run it, right? That's what the Bruins do.
That's what
under
they
Chip
do.
Kelly. DTR at quarterback, they're going to run it. NC State's defense is pretty good. My guy Tony Gibson down there, the defensive coordinator,
Tony
failed
owes
us
us.
week 3, failed us in week 3 against the Mississippi State team we just talked about. Thought we had a great handicap. They failed us.
Tony owes.
Are they back here? They're pretty good against the run. Here's some numbers. Watch this one. We've talked about this before. Stuff rate. I'm going to give you a little stuff rate here.
I love this one. This is the Oreo. I call this one the Oreo thing.
The
Double
percentage
stuff.
of carries that are stopped behind the line of scrimmage. I'm going to give you both sides.
Please.
UCLA is 10th nationally in offensive stuff rate, meaning they don't get stopped behind the line very often. When they run it, they're moving forward. We counter with NC State's defense 5th nationally in stuff rate. They stick you behind the line a lot. You've got a good running team against what's a good defense and a good rush defense on North Carolina State's side. I think the advantage of the 4 units comes in with NC State's offense over UCLA's defense. So do you trust the Wolfpack to be able to hold the running game in place and then score on that UCLA defense? Or do you think Chip Kelly and DTR and company have success on the ground against the Wolfpack?
Oh, man. It's tough. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, it's double stuff on both sides. Geez. I'm leaning NC State right now. And the current number is going that way. I mean, we're up to 2 at the circa on NC State, looking for that UCLA bet. Mostly 1.5. There's still some ones available where NC State is the favorite. The game's at Petco Park.
Wait, one sec. So out there, you're seeing 2s, 2.5s.
NC State is 2 and 1.5, -2 and 1.5.
Where I am on DraftKings, I've got NC State -1. So if I like the Wolfpack, I should hop there because it's moving the other way.
It's moving against you. Yeah, you'll have to lay more points as you go closer. Yeah. So I would play NC State. The game is at 5:00 Pacific at Petco Park, a baseball stadium. Have you ever been to a football game in a baseball stadium?
No, but we go back to Dana Holgerson. One of their great collapses was in the Pinstripe Bowl against Syracuse at Yankee Stadium when Syracuse might still be scoring. They ran about 1,000 tight ends up the seam. I still don't know if Dana and company knows that that's what they're doing. But Syracuse, I just run it straight up, just bad weather, snow, nasty. Right. We'll get just Syracuse to the tight end, Syracuse to the tight end, Syracuse to the tight end.
I've been to a bowl game once down at Chase Field in Phoenix, and the lights are different. And when you turn the field, you're going one way. And I swear, I kept saying to my brother, I don't understand how the wide receivers can look back and see the ball. Because every time I look back, I see the spots from the lights. So I think there's something to that, like playing a basketball game in a football arena, and the rims are different, the lighting's different, the depth is different, and a lot of times you see under. I don't know how much that goes into this handicap, but listening to stuff rate and running the ball and all this stuff, 60.5. I mean, this seems way too high for Tony's defense. I'm worried about UCLA not stopping NC State more than I am the other way around.
Yeah.
NC State and under. Opposite, if you like the correlation, I think UCLA and over, because if UCLA wins this thing, they're going to run. They're going to put up, 35, 38 points, and the final score is going to end up 38-31, something like that, and the game's going to go over. So I think you're going to have to really wait and see where maybe we get a little more information, but my initial thought is NC State for sure.
I tend to agree. UCLA scored 30 or more in 9 of their games. One last thing on this. One of the parts you may see, UCLA may be able to move the ball, but when it gets into 3rd or 4th down, that's where NC State really excels. They're first nationally in power success rate. So that's a percentage of runs
power
on
success rate, PSR.
Yeah, I'll give you the definition. These are Football Outsiders. If you want to look this up yourself, they do a great job with all of these advanced stats here. But that's the percentage of runs on 3rd or 4th down where 2 yards or less are needed.
You're going to have to say that again. And you're going to have to say that again. And you're going to have to say that slower because it's early here and people are listening all over. So say it again. Percentage Sorry, go ahead. Say it again. PSR.
Percentage of runs
Runs.
with 2 yards or less to go
Okay.
that result in a first down or touchdown.
Okay.
So
Right,
critical situations, 3rd and 4th and short with a first down or touchdown on the line. NC State's defense #1 nationally in preventing those.
Really?
Yeah. So UCLA is going to
that?
have to make hay early on downs, you would think, to be able to have the running success here.
Okay. Wow. 9-3 NC State, 7-5 against the number, 8-4 for UCLA, 8-4 against the spread. I think the public's going to bet UCLA, and I think NC State is going to be one of those like bad guy plays. They if they haven't played it already, they're waiting and they're just maybe letting it drive up. You might see UCLA money. They'll come back and move the number back. It may end up UCLA favored at this rate. This is a good game. This is a good football game.
Yeah, this will be fun to watch. I might go hop on NC State here when we get off. If it's only one, if it's going to move the other direction, I might take them right now. One.
Yeah,
I like.
There
that.
You go.
Okay, you talk about football games and baseball stadiums. I'll give you another one coming up on Tuesday. Also, Guaranteed Rate Bowl. West Virginia and Minnesota playing at Chase Field.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Minnesota by 5. Total sitting at 45. You can give me line history, but it's been around this 5 down to 4, back to 5. Total basically sitting in the same area. And I've got a fun storyline for you here. You ready for this one?
Yes, please.
So we talk opt-outs. We talk coaches that aren't there. You got 2 coaches that are there. PJ Fleck, 2-0 in bowls under Minnesota. Neil Brown, 4-0 in bowls, Troy and at West Virginia. So you got good bowl prep here. Here's the story. A name you'll know, Kirk Soraka, former offensive coordinator at your Penn State Nittany Lions. Yeah. Before Penn State, he was at Minnesota as the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Minnesota has just rehired him as the offensive coordinator, Kirk Soraka. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at me like, why the hell are you telling me this? Why do I care about Kirk Soraka right now? Here's why. He spent the last season at West Virginia, this season at West Virginia as an analyst. He has now left Morgantown.
Oh, this is that guy
you told Minnesota.
Me about. Yeah. So he just spent this whole season in Morgantown?
Designing game plans, scouting opponents, looking at strengths and weaknesses. Now he takes his big binder of information and heads to Minnesota, who just so happens to be playing West Virginia in this game. A little bit of analyst to coordinator intrigue here.
Does that affect your handicap now that you know that?
Yeah.
It does.
It does. Now, he's not coaching in this game. All reports say he's bummed out. They say Kirk Soraka, a really good guy. He's bummed out to have to go over on the other side. At the same time, he knows this stuff. You got to factor it in somehow. You talk about knowing strengths and weaknesses, knowing where to attack, where not to attack. That's an advantage. Even if he tries to stay away, there's an advantage in that. Now,
the line opened up 3.5. It's up to 5 in a lot of places, but some places have 4. So there hasn't been movement in some places. Here in Vegas and 2 of the places I'm looking at, the Circa and the Westgate, it's 5 and 4.5, just for the record. Go ahead, sir.
Yep. And I'm 5 here at DraftKings, where I am in West Virginia. So it's at 5. So on the field, the challenge for West Virginia is going to be a mediocre offense all season. Now is without its back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher and Letty Brown.
He's not playing?
He's not playing. He's out. So West Virginia's run game's not good to begin with, but the one piece of the run game that got the bulk of the carries this year is out. West Virginia was going to have to throw it regardless, but that's a significant loss for a West Virginia offense that's in need of playmakers. So no Letty Brown there. On the flip side, Minnesota's not overly dynamic offensively. They're massive along the front line. They're going to want to run it, ball control and run it. West Virginia's kryptonite defensively. They've been very good defensively. The kryptonite is when you go big against West Virginia, which Minnesota does because it is big. When you go big and power run against West Virginia, you can have some success. That's what Minnesota is going to do. I have a little bit of concern about West Virginia being able to slow down that running attack and then score enough to overcome the loss of Letty Brown. I like Minnesota in this
one. Last show you told us about the Bill Stewart Leave No Doubt speech, and I went and watched it. It's fantastic. It's so good. If you haven't done it, go back and just Google Bill Stewart Leave No Doubt. There's a highlight package. It's like 8 minutes with that fullback at the end, just trying to explain what it was all about. it was a great win. They beat Oklahoma in that Fiesta Bowl as a 6-point dog. I don't think people are going to give West Virginia much of a shot in this game, B-How. I mean, when you look at the numbers and you get the brand name Big Ten against the Big 12 and different things like that, the total is only 45, though, which would lead me to believe there's not going to be a lot of scoring on both sides. I don't know. First thought is I want to take West Virginia, but I mean, if you take out that running back, that's a big deal. Like how many games did they play without him this season? None. He played every game, right?
None. He's basically been the guy for 2 years. So listen, him getting to 1,000 yards with an offensive line over the last couple of years that has had to play a lot of young guys, that's a remarkable achievement. There's only been 7 other running backs in West Virginia history, a storied history of running backs that have got to back-to-back 1,000 yards. So Letty, that's a big hit. Now this line's playing better. It's certainly coming along with some young guys, but this is an offense. If it gets to 27 or 30 points, you've had a great offensive output. That's what this team does. So against a good Minnesota defense, if you told me West Virginia got to 24, I'd say, okay, that would be a lot.
Is that enough? Is that enough to win this game?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I think it sounds to me like Minnesota's going to score 4 touchdowns minimum. Okay, so if they get 28 and a field goal, 31, that's way higher than their team total. So if a
24-20 is absolutely
possible.
on the
well,
table.
that's the number. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's the projected score. That's what the line tells you, and that's what the total tells you. So 24-20 makes perfect sense. But I think Minnesota gets more than that. And if you're telling me West Virginia won't, I guess I got to side right now with row the boat, and Minnesota Golden Gophers right now. But I'm looking. I think you'll be able to wait and take the dog with West Virginia and get close to 6. This thing's going to go that way. If they haven't touched the West Virginia side yet, they're going to wait to try to grab 6 or try to drive this thing up to 7, and then forget about it. The order will come in, the bag will show up, and it'll be a West Virginia side at 7. But 5 is a weird number. I mean, we talk about it on Cash Considerations all the time with Carl and Newbie and stuff. 5 is one of those. It got to be more than 3, but it can't be 7. So I just throw 5, and usually you get a bet to 4 or 4.5 or 6. Hasn't moved. I mean, it moved from the initial 3.5, which may have been low. So interesting game. Another one that I think that'll be that's a late night special for you. You're going to be up for that game?
I'll be up for the start of it. Yeah, this will be a hard one to stay awake at the end. West Virginia played in this game a few years ago. It was a great game. Played against Arizona State. West Virginia won on a last-second touchdown pass. It was really entertaining. The darn thing ended like at 1:45 in the morning East. That's a tough one out here, Dave. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. All right, what do you want to do here? I think we got to give the people some quick hitters on the 29th and the 30th games. We'll go a little overtime here for watching and listening on 8 in a Box while we're here, because with the holiday schedule, I think we're going to revisit this thing next week for the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day bowl game special. So, we got a couple on the list. If you got them, let's just hit them with the last 5 that we added to the menu.
Sure.
And
there's some good ones. So you want to start with Clemson, Iowa State? Is that what you're talking about? Clemson, Iowa State?
Let's go there.
This is a great one, and I'll try and be brief here. This is, I don't know where you go here. So we've got Clemson. Do they want to be in this game? First time not in a playoff game in how many years? So that's the Clemson side. Clemson without offensive coordinator, without defensive coordinator, and we know struggled all year in terms of Clemson standards. Iowa State on the other side, underachieved this season based on really high expectations. This was a group that brought everybody back from a Fiesta Bowl team that had won. Matt Campbell was back. They were ready to roll this year, had some really close losses, didn't live up to the lofty standards that were set. Now they do not have their 2-time All-American Breece Hall at running back. So he is out. Line is basically
opt out or hurt?
Opt out. He's not playing.
He's going to play on Sundays though, right?
He's going to play on Sundays. He's very good.
Play on Sundays. Very good.
He's really good. Iowa State's defense is also without a couple of players. Starting cornerback is out. Also a starting safety. They play at the star position. Aisheem Young who was Big 12 Freshman of the Year a year ago, was critical to the defense, although that defense wasn't as good this year as it has been. He's out as well. So just a lot of turmoil in this game. Clemson, Iowa State, this is a hard one to call here. Thoughts?
Teams drive me crazy. I mean, Iowa State especially, because we were on them a couple times. They let us down. Then we bet against them, and they came through. Crazy, crazy side to have here. The line is pick. It's perfect. There's a case for either side. The total's 44. It's really low for a bowl game. What is the best unit, in your opinion, right now? Clemson offense or defense? Iowa State offense or defense? Of the four, what is the best unit?
I don't think it's close. It's the Clemson defense here because the Iowa State defense has struggled, has not lived up. Iowa State's offense with no Breece Hall, you're putting the ball in the hands of Brock Purdy. He has been turnover prone early in the season and late in the season. He was really good during Brocktober when Iowa State doesn't lose in Brocktober, but he's been really streaky. Otherwise, if you're going to put the ball in the hands of Brock Purdy against that Clemson defense, if I'm picking one of these, I'm on the Clemson side.
That's the side. That's where this is going to go. Because I thought the same thing. I'm like, Clemson's defense is the best unit of those four. And without all of the tools because of the opt-out, Iowa State is really going to struggle to score. It's going to be an ugly game. I mean, again, you watch them all. This is a 2:45 Pacific start. And where is this game being played? Iowa State with Clemson.
Cheez-It Bowl.
The
Cheez-It Bowl. Orlando, right?
Yes, in Florida. So no weather real factor. I like Clemson and I like under right now. Okay. That's where I'm leaning with both.
Okay, another one between two big brand names. I like this. Oregon and Oklahoma. But again, both in turmoil. Over. Stop me if you've heard this before.
Over. It's got to be over. Like my first thought immediately, Oregon, Oklahoma in the Alamo Dome and San Antonio fast track over.
I wouldn't argue that, and here's why. The two best defensive players in the game, Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon, who may be the number one pick overall in the draft, and Oklahoma's stud pass rusher, Nick Bonito, both out of this game. They have opted out of this. Perrion Winfrey out for Oklahoma as well. So I'm with you. The number's what? Low 60s, 61 for the total here?
60.5 or 61 in places. You're looking at 61 in West Virginia DraftKings. Yeah, this is immediate first thought is over. It's not enough. It's got to be in the mid-60s or higher.
Caleb Williams, freshman quarterback for Oklahoma, very dynamic. Bob Stoops back in the saddle. So you talk about a coaching mismatch. Your interim's a Hall of Famer in Bob Stoops.
Like, how did he just go get this guy out of the booth, say, Bob, show up and like, run some practices if you want. But, like, we need you on the sideline for the game, call the plays, maybe or just pretend like you're calling the plays, let the guy in the booth call. How does that work? Like,
that's what that does.
It's just bizarre. So,
but you know what this is? We've seen Barry Alvarez do this at Wisconsin. You've got Stoops that's around. And I think it's a great move by Oklahoma. Here's why. Lincoln Riley rolls in the middle of the night with no warning. He's taking assistants with him. He's taking commitments with him. I mean, he's absolutely raiding the Oklahoma program. So what do? You step in and say, oh, is that right? You want to take all our guys here? Okay, we'll just bring a Hall of Famer back with a national championship. Hey, Bob, you go recruit and stabilize this thing until we get our head coach, which he did. I think it was a brilliant move. Brilliant move by Oklahoma to try and stabilize that thing.
Okay. I like the dog. I would take the points with Oregon, but I like the over. I think the best bet is over. I think Oregon scores. I think Oklahoma with the kid at quarterback, I think that's way better for the offense. Last team with the ball wins this thing. I mean, does this feel like the track meet back and forth?
I'll just go ahead and wrap. Might be my Big 12 bias, but give me Oklahoma here. I think chip on their shoulder. I think Stoops rallying them. I think Caleb Williams is the most dynamic player on the field. I think that you know what you're getting. There's going to be some big plays from him. Give me Oklahoma here. Give me Oklahoma.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The Duke's Mayo Bowl. Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte.
Oh.
Let's hope the winning team gets a cooler.
Do you like mayonnaise?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
I can't stand mayonnaise.
Yes. In fact, I have some Duke's Mayo in my fridge as we speak.
For real? What do you put? What do you put it on?
Sandwiches.
You like mayonnaise?
How do you not
Sandwiches?
like mayonnaise? What are you
I
talking
can't
about?
stand mayonnaise. I
Yeah,
don't like
on
it
this
one
one,
second.
the mayo. I go mayo over oil every time. You go oil, you end up with a soaked sandwich, man. You got to go mayo. Has a little more staying power.
He knows sandwiches, that's for sure. All right, thanks, Lou.
Newbie flying in off the top rope with mayo here as you're insulting the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I'm not insulting anybody. I just don't like mayonnaise. But we're Duke's Mayo Bowl? Is Duke's Mayo good mayo?
Listen, you want a controversial take? I might even give you this. Take the Idaho Potato Bowl celebration. Craig Bull from Wyoming got a big tub of fries dumped on it.
Love that.
Okay, I might take those fries and dip them in the mayo.
Ooh.
How do you like me now? How do you like me dipping the fries in the mayo?
When I lived in Curacao, they put ketchup and mayo together.
Well, even better.
That was
fancy sauce.
What's it called?
Little fancy sauce.
Fancy sauce. Well, I don't know. The girls in the office were like, you put ketchup and mayo together, Mr. Dave. And I was like, all right, stop calling me Mr. Dave, first of all. Second of all, let me try this, whatever you're mixing. I'm not going to lie. It was the only time I liked mayo was when it was mixed with ketchup. And I did it because I was with the natives. And then after, being there a while, I was like, oh, this is normal. Then I came home and told them people, I would go places and try it. They're like, what are you doing? And I got phased out of it. And now I don't like mayo at all. All right. Sorry.
Okay. Well, you're gonna like Mayo on December 30th in the Mayo Bowl. North versus South. North Carolina versus South Carolina.
Border
I'm not even gonna give you analysis. Go quickly. This is a big line. 9 for North Carolina. Can North Carolina cover 9 against anybody? They've been disjointed all year.
Is the guy playing, the quarterback playing? Is he playing?
Sam Howell?
Yeah.
Yes, as of now. I've not seen an opt-out from Howell.
I mean, he's a senior though, right? Like he's going to go to the draft.
He should be in the draft. Yeah, very good. Dual threat quarterback. Yes.
I don't know why this guy would play, but maybe he needs to improve his stock. This line would indicate that he is playing. Yeah. South Carolina. How are they going to score enough points to keep up with North Carolina? It's my first thought.
There's your question. They averaged 21 a game this year. Their quarterback's been a mess, but I mean, who's North Carolina stopped?
Well, they don't stop anybody, but they can. I mean, they put up some big numbers. We had a couple highest total of the weeks. One of them was them, and the game was, that was the conference game that wasn't a conference game against Wake Forest.
Against Wake, when they scored 100. Now, listen, every team in the last 7 games against North Carolina has scored at least 34 points except Wofford.
Ooh.
So they can't stop you. They can't stop you. But can South Carolina slow them down? Can South Carolina get to 30? Can this be a 30-28 win?
That's the number, 58 and a half. Boy, you're really nailing it with these scores. I don't know, initial lean right now, and I know it's early. Please check back with us both at follow Brad Howe, BradHowe07 on the Twitter, me at SportsBK Consig on the Twitter. And Newbie at Newbie Talks on the Twitter. I think North Carolina scores too many points. I do. I'm looking for a reason to take the dog, but just kind of looked at these scores. South Carolina doesn't score. Like maybe facing North Carolina's defense is what bad offenses need to get healthy and a little recipe for success. But how do they got to get 30 to cover? Because North Carolina is putting up 38 minimum. So we need one of South Carolina's best offensive performances of the season. Maybe we get it. It's an early start back east. This is 8:30 in the morning on Thursday, December 30th in Charlotte. So it's really kind of not that far for either team. I like the favorite. I can't believe I'm saying it.
I'm stunned by that.
Yeah, I am too. I don't. That one actually gives me that little early morning, like I just had some coffee, that kind of feeling in my stomach, which means it's probably good. This one may be a blowout because I shouldn't like that, but I do.
Yeah, I find this interesting from a program standpoint. I mean, again, North Carolina didn't live up to expectations that were probably unfairly too high given their losses. Mac has looked disjointed on the sideline, though. Mac did not have a fun year this year. If you saw some of those sideline shots, Shane Beamer on the other side has the program you would think trending in the right direction. They're confident. But real quick to your point, just go down South Carolina's opponents. Some of the better offensive opponents they faced put up points. Tennessee 45, A&M 44, Even Missouri, who's just not very good, 31. Clemson's offense struggled all year, got 30. So you're probably right on that if Sam Howell plays, but make sure you check that before you place anything on this one.
I guess he's got to play to maybe cement his status as getting up there. I mean, like we watched that Liberty kid play. Man, was
Malik
he
Willis.
good? Malik Willis.
Yeah,
you did. We were all over it.
Yeah.
As soon as you told me all that, Newbie went and looked at the mock drafts. He carried himself very well. I was like, oh, this kid's going to be a pro, no question. First round draft choice. I'd want him on my team. So Sam Howell has an opportunity to do that. I don't think they call the dogs off, kind of becomes a showcase game a little bit where, all right, light it up, Sam, let's go, go get yourself another $1 million moving up 4 spots in the draft. So I like North Carolina.
Heels. Last game here, then we'll get you out of here. Music City Bowl. I think this could be another sneaky fun one here. Purdue, Tennessee, 4.5. That's moved up a little bit since 3. Listen, on this one, I have to admit, I was wrong on Tennessee all year. I had an under win total ticket on them, under 6.5 wins. Yeah. I thought they would struggle trying to implement that fast Josh Heupel style in year 1. I was wrong. They did a nice job this season. I like them here. I wish I would have played it at 3. I didn't get it at 3. Purdue was very up and down. Some really big-time wins. 2 top 5 wins this season. They beat Michigan State. They beat Iowa on the road when Iowa was a top 5. But they're missing guys. Their star wide receiver, David Bell, out for this game. They're missing a defensive end, George Karlaftis, who's a pro as well. You take their best defensive player, their best offensive skill player out for Purdue. I like Tennessee on this, playing in basically a home game.
Yeah, and again, I'm looking a lot of times to take the Big Ten teams in these situations. But an SEC team laying less than a touchdown against a depleted Big Ten team that doesn't really score a lot of points. Tennessee does score points. They give up points, but I think it's almost too easy, but not. Less than a touchdown, I'm siding with the Tennessee side. The total's interesting to me at first blush because it seems like ridiculously high. This is one of the highest totals. Is this the highest? This is the highest total of the week, Newbie. Crank it up. It's the highest total of the week, BI.
It yeah, you're going to get a higher one next week, but yeah, for right now it is. Yeah, 60-30.
So we got to bet under. It feels, like you're just talking it through. It's like, oh yeah, this Tennessee's going to put up 50, Purdue's going to put up 30, 35. This game's going to fly over. No, it's not. I think this game goes under. Just follow the trend. We were all over it. 11-2 this season on the highest total of the week. It's the highest total of bowl games we talked about. So I'm leaning under, but I can't go dogging under. I think Tennessee is the side right now. Does Tennessee have any major opt-out possibilities that no, right?
No, it looks like they're in good shape here. It looks like they're in good shape.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much carries us through up to the December 31st and January 1st bowl extravaganza part 3 for 8 in a Box. We'll get after that next week. Before we go, one game we didn't mention on that Thursday, the 30th, is Pitt and Michigan State. And I just wanted to point out that we found out, obviously, that Kenny Pickett's not playing. The line flipped from Pitt being favored by like 4, 3.5, all the way to Michigan State favored now -2 or 2.5, 3 in West Virginia, where you're at DraftKings, -3, -105. You see this situation before. Is the running back playing for Michigan State? I heard he's not.
No. So this to me is a total stay away. Reason I didn't bring it up because I have no interest here. This would have been awesome. I would have.
You don't have any interest because it's Pitt. You just don't want to talk about the Pitt.
Well, if Pitt's Heisman finalist quarterback would play, if their offensive coordinator would have stayed and coached the game, I would have had some intrigue. But those guys are leaving, so why can't I leave? I'm leaving. They left. They left. They're not playing. I'm not playing. I'm not worried about them if they're not worried about themselves. Get out of here with that. Kenny Pickett out. Mark Whipple out. Kenneth Walker, Michigan State out.
Yeah.
I'll still watch. I'm not playing this. Good luck on this one.
We'll still watch. This is in that nice primetime spot, 7:00 Eastern, 4:00 Pacific on Thursday. Right from, Atlanta, Peach Bowl. I mean, this is a big game. I would just caution the ease that it seems like Michigan State to play is. Like, I think Pitt is live in this game for sure. And I think the original number, I do, only because I spoke to somebody who coached the kid that's playing quarterback. This is his moment, man. Like, he's prepared for this his whole life. And this might be one of those that we don't know anything about it. Oh, well, it's not Kenny Pickett, so obviously bet against. Don't be surprised to see a big effort from Pitt and them be live in that game. Lastly, Arizona State, Wisconsin is at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. I almost said West Virginia. A little bit different. They're going to be here. We're going to try to go to that bowl game. Arizona State, Wisconsin. This Wisconsin Badgers fans travel big time. They come here for everything and anything. They pack the place. -7 B Howe. Not asking for any analysis, any stuff rate, any of that stuff. All I want to know is, what is your first thought when you see Wisconsin -7 against Arizona State here in the desert, 15 minutes from my house?
I lost money early on Wisconsin, so I stayed away from them all year. But I've got 6.5 here where I am on DraftKings. If it's under a touchdown, that scares the heck out of me, because can Wisconsin even score a single touchdown in a game? Graham Mertz had a bad year. If I'm taking -6.5 or 7 by Wisconsin, scares me. But if you've got another 30 minutes, I'll give you the opt-out list for Arizona State. I mean,
it's
I don't
everybody.
know. It's everybody. Their 2 running backs are out. 1,400 yards on the ground and 21 touchdowns rushing are out for this game, among others. 2 cornerbacks are out. They've got a center out. This, to me, is Wisconsin.
And I don't even blame these kids for doing that. But that's
I don't.
That's the last game on our list. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's worth a discussion, not right now, but like at some point. I don't blame the kids at all. And I mean, Herm Edwards is a coach. Herm Edwards played in the league, and he's probably telling them, look, you guys don't have to play. Like, I mean, we got kids that will play. Like, this is an opportunity for them. It's just it's so hard to make a line and take bets on the thing. It hasn't moved much because I think once this thing gets closer and then the list comes out, I think you might see the move come more on Wisconsin and get to a number that's just not manageable because they don't score a lot of points. You're absolutely right. That's the first one I thought, wow, Wisconsin's laying 7. And then you go, oh gosh, Arizona State's playing a bunch of kids that maybe never played all season. Like, so hard bowl games, but that's it. That's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for joining us and for listening. For the boys producing the show, Dan Alexander, we call him Newbie. He's at Newbie Talks on the Twitter. For Brad Howe, the quarterback of the show, you find him on the Twitter at Brad Howe 07. And again, myself, Dave Sharapan, the Sportsbook Consigliere at SportsBK Consig. Thank you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Thank you for listening, following, subscribing on Cash Considerations Podcast YouTube channel. Download, subscribe wherever you get podcasts there. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the bowl games. And we're just getting started, boys. We got a whole nother set next week. Talk to you then.